just a little recap of your history. Dave and Sue, Toronto natives, both went to music school in Boston.
Met there.
Okay.
Met Joe.
Moved to New York, formed Actual Proof. We're looking for a drummer. Met Joe. Fell in love with Joe.
Oh, nice.
That's to say the least, yeah.
And Joe joins Actual Proof. Actual Proof is a 5-piece. Three of you guys start playing on a lark, not even really with any intention or grand design to focus on this. The band doesn't even have a name. You're playing for petty cash or whatever.
Thousands.
Okay. Actual Proof disbands, you guys continue.
This is all very true.
Very good. Yeah.
First impressions of Joe. What was it about him that endeared you so much to him, or endeared him so much to you?
Musical taste, talent,
creativity,
handsome.
Since changed. That part has since changed, right?
Winning personality.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Now ask him what he thought about us.
Yeah, what did you think of that?
I would go handsome first.
Thank you.
Awesome musicians. Tight musicians. they were like one person, these two guys.
Okay.
Rhythm section.
Now the three of us are like this. So we went from like a two-way to a menage a trois.
Nice. So it's like a okay.
Three's Company.
And Joe introduced Stu to Dub.
Pretty much. I mean, he gave me a King Tubby record.
Okay.
Meets Uptown Rockers, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
And
can't remember.
And I got really like way into that shit. But he also influenced me with other styles as well. And we had many styles in common that we were interested in. I would definitely say, if you were to ask me who my main influences are, both of those guys.
Okay. I wasn't going to ask, so I'm glad you asked.
Awesome. Influential cats.
Well, and bonding over music was a lot of the experience of being in Actual Proof.
Huge.
And
that was
stuff
huge.
together.
We were listening constantly, turning each other on to all different artists. It was amazing.
Long car rides, short car rides.
I was just hanging out, drinking coffees, and listening to records.
How much is that a part of your experience now?
Now it's more, a lot of long car rides still, but more NPR, less of the music. But we still, we still hip each other to different stuff. It's just the car rides have turned into NPR.
Okay.
And the hipping has turned into like an email, check this out, or here's this record, sort of thing.
I mean, one would think that playing music and taking car rides to go play music and be around music all the time, that there's a certain eventual tolerance for listening to music in car rides.
Hence the NPR.
Okay.
Yeah.
What year did you reach that?
A couple years ago.
Threshold?
Yeah, coming for you.
That's a long time to be. Now you were introduced to dub music in college.
In high school.
Okay.
My 12th grade year of high school, I played in a reggae band. I had no idea what dub was.
And then they said this is the dub part.
They said this is dub. I was like, I still don't get it. They're like, you'll hear it. I eventually got it because I went over to one of their houses and the guy had an amazing vinyl collection.
On the wall or something, right?
Just tons of stuff. And he just made me mixtape after mixtape, literally tape. And I just listened to it, and then I finally got the concept, and then I fell in love with that music. And then the rest is history.
What was it about the music that
you know, first of all, it was the feeling that it gave me. It was just like, wow, like this is, you know, I've always sort of been more, I gravitated more towards instrumental music than lyrics. I appreciate lyrics, but and then, you know, just hearing that music and like admiring, I was really into smoking a lot of pot and drugs, and then I took it to the next level, and like, and just like the feeling it gave you, just like the space in the music and hearing it and stuff, that's what it's all about, space. And it's like, and the creativity that those guys did with like such minimal amounts of gear. And,
you talked about that.
It's incredible. So like,
it's inspiring.
So many levels to that music, like just totally kicked my ass.
But they were limited economically, limited with gear, limited with the number of tracks, and you even described it as essentially the birth of the remix.
That's what it is. So I mean, it's as far as I'm concerned.
So now, so it sounds like dub is still very much a part of your listening.
Oh yeah,
still very special.
That's some great dub.
Has a lot of meaning for you in terms of your listening repertoire.
Always will, sure.
Where does I saw Actual Proof once, and where does the heavy guitars come in terms of your listening life?
Listen to a lot of that.
I think it really came into play though, like.
When?
I mean, I don't know.
When for you guys personally does the heaviness come in? Because to compare Actual Proof, and I know that when you guys started doing this, you were deviating from what was, I guess, from what there was room to do in Actual Proof. You were experimenting outside of that on purpose. But to go from Actual Proof to this, I mean, it's sort of a universe apart from it. So I'm just curious where
I think we all came up with rock music. Of our musical individual histories. And I guess once we started doing this, like away from Actual Proof, we realized that we had no genre restrictions because of vocal styling, sort of like any niche to fit into, which allowed us to grab from any styles.
I know there was like a good 10 years of my life, musical life, 8 to 10 years where I didn't really play any rock, like no heavy distorted guitars and stuff, like maybe some guitar solos, like some blues or like.
We constantly go through phases of different interests.
We all kind of rediscovered rock together, like metal and punk, and like that wasn't a big part of. I mean, it was an important part of my upbringing, but like I wasn't playing a ton of metal or punk bands when I was growing up. Like a little bit, but we all kind of rediscovered it, like 5, 6 years ago.
So what were some of the artists that, when you were in that process of discovery, that tipped you?
Rediscovery?
Yes.
Maybe like the Refused, that album, The Shape of Punk to Come.
Yeah, Refused.
That one we listened to that a lot.
Bad Brains.
Bad Brains a bit. Sugar.
Okay.
Mastodon, Queens of the Stone Age.
A lot of riff rock and like math metal and just interesting tones and cool bands that sound unique. Bands that don't sound like other bands, you know, everyone, all these bands that sound and like.
Mount Banana too.
Mount Banana, sure. Who else? I mean, that's.
Shit though.
Now, how much do you think, you guys have talked about how with each successive album you're trying to incorporate more genres, fold them into your sound.
Not necessarily. I wouldn't.
We just realized there's no boundaries.
We just do whatever.
If you hear the first record and you hear the latest record, you listen to them in, you know, sort of chronological order, like you'll hear it progress. It sounds logical. It sounds like, okay, I hear where they came from, where they're going. So it's not like we just throw in every style that we like dig. I mean, but it's, you know, it gets a little heavier, a little more rock, metal for lack of a better word, you know, it's just like, but also more experimental. The dub's still in there. I mean, we're not, like, you know, Stu said, we're not afraid to like throw in, there's no restrictions, so we'll throw in a dubstep track, and then a noise track, and then an ambient art, and then a reggae song, and then, so try to make it work, try to make it make sense musically though, you know, it's not just like, we're not arbitrarily grabbing styles and just saying, oh, we can fuck with that, let's just
okay, see, so because I was going to ask, how much do you feel that a style of music has to resonate with you personally before you begin to incorporate it in music you're making? I mean, how respectful do you have to be? I know dub has meant a lot to you for a long time since you were in high school, but
I think when you like sit down to write a song, if that comes out, then it's natural. You know, you don't like go in to write a song, or you don't start hearing a song in your head when you're writing, and like, you know, start thinking, oh, country, I'm gonna write a country song. It's just like you write a song. So, or you write a riff, whatever it is, or, you know, maybe you write a riff and then the interpretation that we take, it might take it somewhere else, you know. But there's no like preconceived notion of style, I don't think.
We never really sit down and say we're definitely making this genre or this style.
Right, that's been pretty clear all along. You guys have said that it wasn't even a matter of we're trying. It wasn't a matter of, you know, we're trying to do something nobody else has done. No. That was not set out.
Never once was it like that.
Plus, some of it happens by accident. You know,
Yeah.
like we're always like learning as we go. And, we do listen to a lot of different styles of music, so we're aware of what is like we could put some of our music into stylistic categories, even if it's like those moments where it's like 3 minutes of just ambience. You know, it might, to a non-avid music listener, could test your tolerance and patience. But we listen to a lot of ambient music, you know, so we're aware of like where certain things can go. It could totally be by accident. Like one track, it happens to be like 9 or 10 minutes long, and we ended up deleting the drums and bass for a third of the whole song, and just left the ambient textures and guitars and noises. We were happy with that.
Yeah, that's
and then,
okay.
so then that song became an ambient song. Or you know, a lot of it's just like as we're going.
Well, and you've talked about how the writing is very organic, and one person will bring in an idea, and then you guys will build on it. It sounds like those ideas don't strictly start on the main instruments, drums, guitar, bass, but there are other sources at times for some of these ideas.
Yeah,
Talk about that a little bit.
Conceptually, like for instance on the new record, like you know, we did this one track that's it's all done on piano, it's all prepared piano, and we that was sort of an inspiration, something cool like that, like a new way to approach the way we write with the dub, you know, sort of that you know that songwriting concept, you know, to take pre-existing stuff that we all played on the piano and recorded, and like, you know, do our technique mixing wise and production wise to it. You know, that was one example. An idea might start on a computer, like
so on the computer.
on a, you know, Logic or Pro Tools or Reason or something, like some sort of like software programming
Or a math pattern.
Yeah.
Math pattern, or on a piano, some chords on a piano might inspire something, or acoustic guitar, or whatever.
Again, there's no boundaries.
Now, when you started, you had developed your live sound, and you were, in a lot of ways, playing each other, manipulating each other's sounds. And then you went into a studio, and you pretty much did what you do live, but the treatments were later.
Exactly.
How foreign was that to go into a studio and make that adjustment? Sort of like dub of dub.
Was an adjustment.
Yeah, the first time for sure, like.
Pretty foreign.
Because when we play live and we're manipulating each other, we're reacting to one another, and we play off of that.
You're reacting to the reacting.
So then when we hit the studio, we took that out of the mix and just played the basic tracks, and then
We made the conscious decision to like just go for it, do it that way, you know.
Approach it like a traditional dub record.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
have all the tracks recorded,
Right.
just manipulate them in post. You know,
deconstruct and
that's the only time we ever do that. Every time we make a record for a week or whatever.
Okay, I was going to ask you.
That's it.
How it's evolved. The process has evolved since then.
That's
over the
the
course
only
of 4.5
time.
records.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
that, we do it.
We do it the same way. Some of like the guitars, and maybe some of the keyboards now, maybe more live when tracking. You know, just because it gives it some organic feel.
We use Joel Hamilton all the time. We sort of
Post-dubbing and all.
honed in on our technique.
Yes.
So okay, so it stayed the same each time, and it's like okay, so when you're doing it live and spontaneously creating, again, you're reacting off the reactions. You're doing the live dub in the moment in real time. But then, so how difficult at this point, after doing this like I guess 4.5 times, is it to strip away that element each time and then try to get to the essence of the piece of music?
It becomes easier, I think. We're getting better at it, and we can actually like start thinking about the moves more, becoming more perfectionists, you know.
Or sort of planning ahead for what they're going to be.
Planning ahead, thinking it through, like the progression of the song, and you know, it's kind of exciting to do it that way because you can say, oh, we can do it this way, or we can do it this way, or that way, and then you know, and it's still reactions because
I mean, it's weird though because like that's those moments when we're in the studio, like I said, like that's the only time we do it like that. But then that again is only one improvisation, you know, one shape of that song. Like when we play that song tonight and when we play that song tomorrow, it's going to be different subtly both times.
Right, and there's improv, obviously, yes, and that's well documented that you guys, there's a large improvisational element to that, to what you guys do.
Which is what dub is. Those guys are just doing one pass, and if they fuck it up or they don't like the way they did it, rewind the tape, record again. I messed this reverb up, or this mute.
oh yeah,
Sure.
So there's that, we try to apply that to the same songs.
pretty
same
sure
content.
they practice the shit a bunch of times before they like get the final.
Some element, I feel like some of those guys just like go for it. Like,
Oh yeah.
That'd be interesting to go back and look up, and you're saying, a lot of it sounds very spontaneous.
I think they do it so many times. They have when you hear someone's sound, someone's moves, technology.
Yeah, right. This is sort of like what's you know, sometimes goes on in one of your shows. You have to do with gear.
We're dubbing it up right now. It's
Right.
just cut up.
That's absolutely, you know, that'll work. I'll think. Last question. Your backing of other people, well documented. You have a long roster of credits of backing other people. What are some, I understand you're focusing on this now, you've done multiple runs with Montage, but what are some collaborations that you might have in the works that we don't know about already, or that have been discussed at least or broached?
Maybe one that's not really well known is the Candirio collab.
But nothing in the works right now.
Nothing in the works,
Just
but
concentrating on Dub Trio and still doing Modesiano.
There's a lot of artists we respect that would be fun to like work with, you know, write songs or do remixes for or whatever, collaborate. But nothing that we're so busy with Modest and us, you know, and trying to be, you know, when we're at home trying to just be people that exist at our homes. It's like it's pretty, you know, it's a lot to take in already. So we just go one step at a time, you know. So if the idea presents itself, then we'll you know, makes sense, we'll do it.
Okay, and last but not least, your food blog. How's your search for French onion soup and bread pudding going, Joe?
French onion soup didn't end up happening, but bread pudding was great. 17 bread puddings across America. The last one I did was hummus in Israel.